is Eyewitness News at 5:30 on WCTV.
Good afternoon. Leon County Commissioner Manny Joannis is asking the circuit court to put him back on the November ballot.
He was tossed out of this year's election after he did not show up at the election office during the mandatory qualifying period. Jacqui Bauer now has the very latest from downtown Tallahassee. Jackie?
Well, Julie and Gary, Joannis says that election officials sure reminded him about the stuff that he had to do to qualify, but they say they did. They say all that information is in letters and also pamphlets like this that are given to every candidate. Joannis says that he thought he had completed all of his paperwork and did not have to show up at the election office during the qualification period. But election officials say they did not receive mandatory forms from Joannis on time and in person, and they cannot legally allow him to run.
Once the deadline of noon came and went, our hands are bound by the law. And the law is extremely specific relative to that.
Election officials also say Joannis met the same candidate qualifications he forgot about this time when he ran for office 2 times in the past.
Well, Jackie, any idea how long it's going to take the courts to make some kind of decision here?
Joannis says he wants a quick decision. He says all this is taking away from his campaigning and also his work for constituents.
Jacqui Bauer, downtown.
Thank you very much. A stretch of Interstate 10 in Tallahassee was shut down this afternoon after 3 different accidents. It all started at about 2:45 in the westbound lanes between 27 North and Capitol Circle. Wet roads are considered a factor in the crashes. In this one, a semi-truck attempting to pass clipped another semi and pushed it into a car stuck in the emergency lane. The Florida Highway Patrol says in another crash, a semi plowed into a tree, and still another was a semi versus a car. All of the crashes happened within about 1 hour of each other. No one was seriously injured in any of them. Traffic is now moving again, but moving slowly as troopers work to clear all of the wreckage.
Be careful out there.
Tallahassee police officers say too many inexperienced motorcyclists are putting their lives and yours in jeopardy.
Officers say that too many young riders are getting on-the-job training in sticky situations, and that is no time to learn. We want to join Tony Whitehurst in the newsroom with the very latest details here. Tony?
Well, Julie and Gary, many experienced bikers agree with what you're saying there are just too many on the road that are doing crazy things, and they say, but when it comes to dealing with cars, it's often a matter of survival. Now, TPD motor officers spend at least 1 day a month on the driving range refreshing their skills. They say some bike riders need to slow down and learn more about braking in the middle of traffic. Bikers, on the other hand, say quite often drivers of automobiles are just as hazardous and cause many accidents.
I think I'm a pretty competent rider now. There are sometimes I come out here and I have to concentrate a little bit more to complete these maneuvers. And so the constant training keeps our skills up.
Downtown is still fine, but you go out on the Appalachia Parkway at rush hour, you go on Thomasville Road at rush hour, you hit West Tennessee Street just about any time of the day, and you really are taking your life in your own hands. Because people out there are driving fast, they're breaking the speed limit, and they're not looking for you.
And when it comes to safety, I guess Rick Flagg kind of summed it up with an old fighter pilot expression. He says, there are bold pilots and old pilots, but no old bold pilots. You know what I mean?
Be careful.
I think so. Tony, it's easy to understand the dangers of speeding, really, but what about braking and stopping? Any special precautions there?
Yeah, well, when you hit the brakes on the car, everything stops at the same time, but on the motorcycle, it's kind of different. You may have to hit the rear brakes and the front brakes, and not all of them work simultaneously. And if you panic, you can get seriously injured or even get killed.
That's right. Tony, thanks.
Watch out. Thank you. Well, boaters may soon have to abide by some new rules of the river, too. Tonight, the Wakulla County Commission is considering posting new slow speed zones along the Wakulla and St. Marks rivers in hopes of protecting manatees and the increasing number of swimmers and divers on the water. Those caught breaking the rules could face a $500 fine. A public hearing on the new speed zones is scheduled tonight at 6 in the Wakulla Commission chambers. We'll let you know on Eyewitness News at 11 tonight exactly what happens. Well, now to a story that makes parents everywhere shudder. A newborn stolen from a Jacksonville hospital nearly 2 weeks ago is still missing.
And to make matters worse, Julie, there is news today that the security cameras posted in the nursery were not working the day the little girl was abducted. Joy Purdy has the details.
Measures in place at University Medical Center, the hospital hopes to never relive the horror that happened more than a week ago when a kidnapper walked off with newborn Kamaya Mobley just a few hours after her birth. Since then, the hospital has added more security officers, new alarms on the stairwells, and new badges for every maternity staffer.
But what about things like security cameras that were already in place before the abduction? What may have been the best eyewitness hasn't been much help.
Investigators now have 36 hours of surveillance video the hospital gave them to review, but police say the quality of the tapes is very poor.
It's not enough to make out faces on. So we're going to send it to the FBI laboratory in Quantico and have it enhanced and have it blown up, and hopefully we can come up with a suspect in one of those.
Hospital security cameras were the saving grace in Kansas City, Missouri last January. In that case, a stolen newborn was found within 24 hours. Hidden cameras caught both suspects on tape. That led ultimately to the rescue of the infant and her safe return to her family. Over the phone, University Medical Center officials claim all their cameras were working, but investigators wonder how well.
Scary stuff. Still to come, Mike is in to let us know who got the rain today and just how much. Stay tuned for his forecast.
Plus, coming up, Mother Nature puts on quite a light show in Atlanta. You will see right after we check the fireworks, or lack thereof, on Wall Street.
Mike McCall's Doppler 6 weathercasts have the seal of approval of the American Meteorological Society.
Have you ever noticed how some car dealerships use high pressure to try to sell you something? Frankly, the only time I like high pressure is when I'm in the shower or having my tires pumped up. One of the many reasons the Proctor family's been in business for over 87 years is because they don't use high pressure on their customers. I like that. If I want a new car or truck, I'll go to one of the Proctor dealerships, and if I want high pressure, I'll have some air blown into my tires.
We're doing makeovers. Interested? Come, sit. Come on.
What do you think?
If you're gonna get a makeover,
Come on.
get a makeover. If you're gonna get a burger, get a burger. The Monster Burger, only at Hardee's. 2 large, juicy patties with the most bacon and cheese you can get.
If you're gonna go all out.
Dad, how's the cotton looking, son? Great. Our consultant sure was right about Desis.
How's that?
Well, it knocked out the worms and weevils like Baythroid and controlled the plant bugs like karate. We get the best of both with Desis.
What about the BT cotton?
Well, Ray says a lot of growers are increasing yields by spraying BT cotton with Desis.
Let's do it.
Conventional or BT cotton, Desis is best overall.
And Mike is here now. I can hear the rain on the roof outside. I hope a lot of people are getting to hear that sound today.
Yeah, it's been coming down for about the last 3 hours here at the studio.
Yeah, and most of it has been the good kind, just coming down nice, steady rain, and certainly brought the temperatures down. Very comfortable to be outdoors. Well, sort of. It's still wet, but the temperatures are certainly nice. Look at the numbers out there. 79 for Thomasville, 78 in Tallahassee. Pretty nice. 82% is the relative humidity. Falling barometer, 30.09. A little east wind, but only around 8 miles per hour. Pollen today in the low range, only 7 parts per cubic meter, while the mold spores way up there due to the rainfall we've had about the past week or so. In the alert range, 4,166 parts per cubic meter. You can pick out most areas in the 70s and 80s. Now, Jacksonville, Savannah, down around Daytona, Orlando. Not much in the way of shower activity yet. There were a couple around earlier in the day, but as you can see, there just isn't a whole lot as far as temperatures go in the 90s around our area because of the cloud cover with the showers and the thunderstorms going on. And you can see pretty good little thunderstorms developed over western Wakulla County, moving into portions of Liberty County, but most of the activity is moving off towards the northwest and kind of losing some of its punch now, but still some scattered showers, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm or two for the next couple of hours. Then after that, it'll be partly cloudy, and once again, we'll have some patchy fog. Had some of that around last night, and I do expect to see the same type of thing developing again today. You take a look at the lightning composite, and there you see the showers and thunderstorms. Now, some of these along the eastern section is actually starting to move more towards the north, but again, most of this activity really starting to die out and should continue to do so during the next hour or two. A lot of moisture in the atmosphere, and what's the cause of it? A little weak tropical wave. Down over the Bahamas, really enhancing the shower and thunderstorm activity. You can see it all spreading across the state of Florida and the Gulf of Mexico, and then to South Georgia. That will be the case again tomorrow, so I'm going to keep the rain chances pretty high, about 60%. Now, severe weather threat, not much here. There may be an isolated strong thunderstorm, but most of the severe weather will be well to our north in association with an area of low pressure, an old frontal boundary. But for us, weak high pressure to our north with that tropical wave to our south. Means the clouds will return with a good chance for the showers and thunderstorms. Doppler 6 radar on the live scan right now. There's a strong thunderstorm I talked about that was over western Wakulla County, maybe drifting towards the west and also just east of Valdosta. And there's that light rain parked over Leon County, not showing much movement. All right, headed out this evening. Still about a 40% chance for those scattered showers, and then a low temperature around 73. Tomorrow, back up to 92. We'll keep the rain chance pretty high, though, at about 60% under initially partly cloudy skies. Notice the rain chances come down. I think a lot of the moisture will head towards Texas, where they really need it by midweek, and then that'll heat us up. But maybe by the weekend, we'll be back into that 40 to 50% chance. So a good pattern for us.
That's great.
The old summertime pattern.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you. Well, we did have a nice shot of rain this afternoon and a couple of accompanying thunder boomers out there.
That's right. Check out the action in Atlanta, however. This video comes to us from Woodstock, Georgia. The light show was spectacular. This is part of the lightning show that went on in the skies northeast of downtown Atlanta. The storm did some minor damage in several Woodstock, Georgia subdivisions, causing sporadic power outages and knocking down some trees and lights and causing some limbs to fall, but a spectacular light show nonetheless.
A pretty sight when it's not happening over your head, right?
Bet.
Randy's here now talking NFL football.
Yeah, the camps are opening up this week, but not all good news because the waiting game continues for the number 3 pick in the draft. Details coming up next.
You're watching Eyewitness News with Randy Ruditz and the sports.
Does a car have instincts? Can it anticipate the next curve? One car can make you believe it does. With a patented steering and suspension system, you have the agility to outsmart the most elusive of roads. Now you can get low 1.9% financing on Intrigue and all Oldsmobiles. Intrigue, a sophisticated twist on a sports sedan.
Who's on our side?
State Senator Roy Barnes voted to create a special government program which gave $1 million tax-free loan to a bank owned by Barnes.
And Secretary of State Louis Massey was convicted and fined by the Ethics Commission for taking an illegal campaign contribution.
Underneath this dome, big money buys and sells political power. But I'm not running for governor to play let's make a deal.
David Poitras, nobody's governor but yours.
Mark Taylor, the South Georgian from Albany running for Lieutenant Governor, a businessman who helped create hundreds of jobs.
Thanks, Mark.
As Zell Miller's leader in the state Senate, he passed the law creating the Hope Scholarship Program.
Thanks, Mark.
Mark Taylor wrote a law so HMO patients can choose any doctor they want.
Thanks, Mark.
And passed Georgia's 2 strikes bill, 2 violent crime convictions, and you go to prison for life.
Yeah, thanks, Mark.
Mark Taylor, he'll be our kind of Lieutenant Governor.
Over the past year and a half, I've traveled all across this district, listening and sharing ideas. And the fact is, we not only share an optimism for our future, but similar goals for moving South Georgia forward. Born and raised here, I know the resources and the potential exist here to expand our economy. As your congressman, I'll be your voice in Washington. No one will spend more time fighting to bring new businesses and good jobs here. No one. I need your vote. Together, we'll do more for South Georgia.
Good afternoon, everyone. While some NFL teams have already started training camp, the Arizona Cardinals still have a few days. They're going to suit up on Thursday. Andre Wadsworth, meanwhile, who was the Cards' first pick in the NFL draft and number 3 overall, was over at FSU today for a quick workout. Wadsworth still unsigned by Arizona and will not report to camp on time unless an agreement is worked out before Thursday. Andre says you got to roll with the punches because contracts take time.
Well, contracts is a funny thing. It's not like it can be a slow process, it can be a fast process. It's never a built-up process. It's either a yes or a no.
As we said, NFL camps are gearing up this week, which leads us to the number 1 question. Can the Denver Broncos repeat? They've certainly got a chance now that quarterback John Elway has decided to return for another season.
The road to a Super Bowl victory is never a smooth one for the NFL's champions, but for the Denver Broncos, the drive has been a longer and bumpier one, filled with memories of missed opportunities. When he was acquired in 1983, John Elway immediately became the team's hope for glory, but it was also he that would endure the brunt of its failures. As the losing quarterback in 3 of the Broncos' 4 Super Bowl defeats, Elway would finally prove the skeptics wrong in Super Bowl 32, pushing his 37-year-old body to the limit to bring the title home to the Mile High City. But with the victory came the ultimate question. Would Denver have its MVP back in 1998?
Everybody keeps congratulating me for coming back. The thing is, I never left.
And now in his 16th season, Elway has accepted what will become the most difficult challenge of his career, leading the Broncos in becoming just the 6th NFL team in history to repeat as champions.
To the play of the day, Cal Ripken Jr. giving Jeff Rabelais an atomic wedgie. You know, that takes teamwork. That's good teamwork, but this is bad. Seattle's Rossi and Rodriguez, sounds like a line, get their signals crossed, bump into each other, ouch, but somehow make the play. Been a tough year for the Mariners.
Hang in there.
Yeah, really.
Thank you, Randy. Up next in our Medical Minute.
Our area is famous for its charming small towns, and a new report shows rural America is seeing more and more AIDS patients every day. The details next.
You're watching Eyewitness News with Julie Montanaro and Gary Bartlett.
Do you know Joe? Mary Crane.
I was impressed the way he looked you right in the eye when he talked to you. He was so sure of himself about what he wanted and what he believed in.
General Troy Talbot.
This is a genuine person who is concerned about the people in his district, and he wants to do something about things that are wrong in our district. He's the man for the job.
With the Republican congressional primary on July 21st, don't you think it's time you got to know Joe? Joe McCormick, a conservative you can trust.
I'm proud to have run a positive campaign of ideas for Georgia, like offering after-school programs, putting teachers back in charge of discipline, on-site daycare for working mothers, eliminating property taxes on the first $50,000 of value, health care that allows doctor choice, work camps for nonviolent offenders. I offer real experience to make these new ideas work, and I would appreciate your vote on Tuesday.
In our Medical Minute this afternoon, the problem of AIDS is soaring, and nowhere is the situation worse than in small towns across America.
Rural areas have increasingly become the trouble spots for HIV, where new victims tend to be young minorities and heterosexuals. As Dr. Todd Husty reports, no one is immune.
Hi, Bobby. How are you today?
Fine.
For more than 10 years, Bobby, as we'll call her, has lived with HIV.
I was positive back in '87. Now that I'm living with it, it's a real hard thing to do. It's every day of your life you wake up and it's on your mind.
And on the mind of Dr. Bruce Hathaway. One more breath here. An infectious disease specialist at the East Carolina University Medical School, he has seen cases of HIV and AIDS increasing at alarming rates in rural America, the place most of his patients call home.
As high as 40 cases per 100,000 per year, and that's a pretty high rate.
By comparison, the infection rate in urban areas is actually declining slightly. Bottom line, AIDS is not the big city disease it was once thought to be. The way Hathaway sees it, HIV is spreading in rural settings because the subject is taboo here. Also, residents still don't know how to protect themselves and sometimes feel it can't happen where they live. He says changing that way of thinking will be difficult and expensive.
We need to re-embark on a massive educational program. Big breath for me.
Dr. Hathaway hopes more people in rural areas learn a lesson from patients like Bobby.
It can happen to anybody.
This is Dr. Todd Husty, Channel 6 Eyewitness News.
And if you would like more information on AIDS, you can contact the Centers for Disease Control National AIDS and HIV Hotline. That number, 1-800-342-2437. And when we come back, last week we told you about a plan to charge students who go to grade schools across state lines.
When we come back, we will talk with some of the parents who are now experiencing sticker shock. More on those $4,000 bills next.
While working on our house, each contractor's rate was unique. So we started checking rates on everything. Then we found out about Progressive Auto Insurance.
Progressive, may I help you? She's giving me their rates and comparisons to other companies. They can save us $200 a year by going with them.
What's the catch? Yeah, what's the catch?
What's the catch? No catch. We can get you started today. Yeah, well, sure.
That was so easy. Then it was back to the real world.
Call 1-800-AUTO-PRO or your authorized independent agent.
At the Tallahassee Democrat, we've been keeping in touch with you.
And in response to your suggestions, we are reorganizing your newspaper with just one goal in mind.
To make it easier for you to find the news and information you're looking for.
When it comes to keeping you in touch, no one does it as well as the Tallahassee Democrat.
It's about our community, the Tallahassee Democrat, keeping you in touch.
Welcome back, everyone. Students at historically black universities should benefit from a seminar being held in Tallahassee this week. Deans from about 40 business schools are participating in the program. They'll be sharing success stories and brainstorming about innovative learning techniques. The main goal is to give students more tools that will help them be successful.
It's always a lot to learn from others, and all of these are deans, or presidents, and people that have a vast amount of experience.
What it allows us to do is to interact with each other, to learn from each other, and to share ideas across the board and around the nation.
The Institute is sponsored by Nissan Motors Corporation. The company recruits a large workforce and feels that it's important for universities to graduate students with strong business skills. There are more questions than answers this afternoon about a plan to charge tuition to out-of-state students in an area school system.
Last week, the Lowndes County School Board announced its plan to charge tuition for students who attend their schools but live in Florida. For more on this story, let's go live to Brian Schuman's in Valdosta. Brian?
Julie, now it appears that some of those most affected by this ruling ironically work within the school system, and they say the idea is unfair.
Marie Evans has been teaching here at Lowndes Middle School for more than 25 years. In 1988, she was selected as Teacher of the Year. Throughout her tenure in the system, she has lived in Pinetta, Florida. Now the same system that pays her wants to charge for her grandchild, also a Florida resident, to attend a Lowndes County school.
They don't feel that, it's a necessity to impose tuition for the children of employees elsewhere. I'm having difficulties understanding why it's necessary here.
I was shocked. To begin with, I could not come up with that kind of money to pay for my children to stay in the Lowndes County schools.
Sharon Dickert also lives in Pinetta. She has taught in the Lowndes County school system for 11 years and was the 1994 Teacher of the Year. She has 2 daughters currently attending Lowndes County schools.
They received excellent educations. I did not want to have to remove them from the school and their friends that they love going to school there.
Both educators say they believe this is an honest effort to save tax dollars by the Lowndes Board of Education. However, they say it still doesn't make it right, and they want it changed.
I feel that we have contributed enough over the years, and that we do continue to contribute enough, that they really aren't losing anything.
Now, members of the school board were unavailable for comment today. The teachers say they hope to have the ruling changed under a Georgia state law that allows children of school teachers to go to that school district regardless of their home address.
All right, keep us posted. Thank you, Brian Schumann in Valdosta. Well, stay with us, everyone. When we come back, crowds are gathering along the edge of a pasture.
We will take you there. They're trying to get a glimpse of these little guys. We'll tell you why they're so special right after 6 on the Road.
Eyewitness News at 5:30 is closed captioned as a public service of Discount Tire Company and WCTV.
Before we built one part for the new Dodge Intrepid, we built the whole car digitally. That way, we were able to test more than 2,000 engines, numerous suspensions, a multitude of seats, and a vast number of headlamps. The result is 1 in a million. The new Dodge Intrepid. We're changing everything. Again. As shown, less than 25.4. Well equipped, around 20.
It's good to know you can always get more tofu, alfalfa sprouts, soy milk, whole grains, acidophilus, organic whole wheat pasta, fresh fruits and vegetables, all your vitamins. Oh, yes, and a nice thick slice of fresh cheesecake.
While you're at the marketplace, Winn-Dixie Marketplace.
Isn't life delicious?
It's time for zero down days at your Chrysler and Plymouth dealer. For a limited time, make no down payment and no monthly payments for 6 months. Get America's lowest price minivan, Plymouth Voyager, just $16,870, including $1,250 cash back with zero down. Or choose Plymouth Grand Voyager with $1,500 cash back and zero down. Or get into the Chrysler Town & Country LXI with $1,500 cash back and zero down. Hurry, zero down days won't last long.
See your local Chrysler and Plymouth dealer. Be part of the team more people turn to. When you see news take place, call star 600. This free service by 360 Communications. When news happens, turn to Eyewitness News.
Our area is known for many wonderful things, but it's also known for causing serious allergies. On the next Good Morning Show, we'll talk to an allergy specialist about allergy season and a special camp for kids with allergies. Plus, Ken will have your forecast, and Manny Ruditz, all the sports. We'll see you then.
A mother in Pasco County got the surprise of her life this weekend.
That's right. Unbeknownst to her, she was carrying twins. That is big news in the world of humans, but it is unbelievably rare for a horse to deliver twins and have both of them survive. Elaine and Stephen Croft of Pasco County say they first realized they were expecting twins after the first of 2 fillies popped out. Elaine said, "Hold on, here comes another one." The 2 colts have not yet been named. One is a bit smaller than the other, but both are healthy. The mother horse, her name is Make Me Happy, and you can see one of the owners there. He is happy indeed, but apparently folks are just lining up at the fence to get a glimpse of these little girls.
Everybody loves those little horses. That is our broadcast for this Monday afternoon. Thanks for watching. I'm Gary Bartlett.
And I'm Julie Montanaro. We'll be back tonight at 11. Join us then, but right now we want to check with Frank to see what's coming up next.
All right, thanks a lot, Julie and Gary. A Leon County commissioner who missed the qualifying deadline still looks to the courts to get on the ballot. Plus, steps are taken on the national and state levels to put discipline and safety back in schools. In sports, Randy tells us NFL training camps are now in full swing, and Mike has the Doppler 6 forecast, so stay with us. The news is next.